You know, I heard the Ward 2 councillor profess what an ardent supporter of labor he was, what an ardent supporter of working men and women and their families. Then I asked him, why doesn't he reconsider introducing the PUD on the Bay Point Marina area when he knows that it means a lot of jobs for working men and women in Quincy if we can have Eventide build their addition there? Why not do that if you're such an ardent advocate?
They take other forms, but it is not the intention of revisiting the plan new development aspect. That does not mean, and I have not received any formal information, but I understand that there are talks and negotiations that are ongoing between the owner of the property and a potential purchaser of the property, and it may come back to revisit it, or it may come back as a planned unit development proposal, it may come back as a zoning board of appeals proposal. The bottom line, Councilor, is that when you had a chance, you did not perform on behalf of the working men and women of this community. You satisfied your own political ego instead of the interest of the working men of this community.
Well, I'm interested to know, when you were on Mount Olympus, who gave you the monopoly on what you profess to be the truth here? I voted no for that PUD, but after that PUD, Labor came to me and said it was very important to them. I told Labor, up until that point, I hadn't known how important it was. And that because they were very supportive of me in my many runs for public office, that I couldn't abandon their support and I would change my vote. And I asked them to look at the other two no votes on that vote, which were Councilor Finn and you. And despite them going to you and saying...
No, I voted for it, Councilor.
But at that point, it had been defeated, Councilor Raimondi. Don't try to change the record.
No, Councilor, you said I voted against it. No. He said I voted against it. For the proposal.
You voted for the proposal, but you voted, you represented privately that you would not reintroduce it. When especially
you can't be trusted. Your word is absolute.
Councilor on. I'm going to move on to take. Yeah.
Got to get the record straight, though.
John.
As soon as it was brought to my attention, I said, I'm there for you, but you said no, and Councilor Finn said no, and nobody can alter those facts.
Councilor, I asked, if you want to get public about it, I asked that bring it in. You bring it in, I would support it. That was the commitment that I made for the folks who called me, because as far as I'm concerned,
Councilor that conversation with
Councilor McNamee's
when did you have that conversation
useless. So I indicated to those folks, if Councilor McNamee wants to bring in the proposal, I'll be more than happy to support it, and you have not yet brought it in.
Actually, Councilor McNamee provides a certain segue, because the most telling thing that he had to say in relation to the Eventide was he didn't know that it was related to a labor issue. And I think that what's important, the most telling thing, was the gentleman from the laborers who spoke, in my opinion, regarded the Lowe's project very dramatically and very appropriately. And I don't mean to paraphrase him, but I think that the suggestion is that, we live in times where we can't just simply rely on the words of others, that things need to be in the form of agreements. And the greatest shame of all, in many respects, is we probably don't have to be here. It wouldn't have to be here if there was just a sense of constantly, we can rely, we can trust in one administration, we can trust in one person's word. And instead, the work and the footwork wasn't done to really fine-tune exactly what the nature of that should be. And Councilor Raimondi is exactly accurate when you come up and you defend what working families or people are doing, and that you try to, and the next thing you find yourself being censured, without a question, that leads one to wonder about where we're at with this. This is a very, again, I'm supportive of this particular resolution, and I'm willing to admit, any of us up here can drop the ball at any time, and I'm willing to accept responsibility for when we drop the ball. But I think it's important for the rank and file members who are out there today that you also have to make certain that your leadership is responsible to you, and they show you in black and white, and they show you what are the details of these negotiations, what are the details of these agreements, because if you don't, one of you locals out there is going to find yourself around with the Lowe's deal and everything else on the outside looking in, and I resent it if you're going to come back up here and blame us.
I appreciate the opportunity. I was sitting in the back there, and I really want to compliment Councilman Gaudreau on his recent comments because it was handled very professionally. I was taken personally assaulted by Councilor Finn. If you want to run for the president of the Building Trades Show, come on up and give it a shot. These guys have elected me for the last 12 years. I do the best I can. It's your responsibility to come to us when a developer comes to you, as Councilor Davis has on the occasion. Walk too. Now, I'm not going to be sitting here and chastising. I don't do my job, because I do it damn good. These guys support me 100%. We want to have an honest day's work over there. We've had people apply for jobs through D'Agostino who cannot get on the job. He refuses to hire Quincy residents. I thank you, and I hope this discussion is over. Thank you.
And I'd be willing to extend the same courtesy to Mr. Rizzi, but I hope in the future, particularly if he has a difficulty with me, before he goes and misrepresents that before the rank and file members, that he also have the courtesy of at least giving me a phone call to whatever issue that he might have. Bottom line is, a lot of this could have been avoided had people stood with us back at the time around ensuring that a major, one of the most significant projects of this city did not go forward simply on a promise, but that had been signed, sealed, and delivered, and it wasn't. And here we are today. So again, with that, I too hope it's over.